order to make this water kefir, I'm going to show you today what we're going to do. And this is full of healthy probiotics. You should drink not too much of it at one sitting and just build up the amount. So start with about half a jar, half a glass, and then building it up to about 1 glass a day. That would be fine because yes, this is pretty strong probiotic, and you could get some bloating from it if you start with it. So, but I will show you how to make this one. For this, we will need a glass bottle or a jar with a lid you can put on just loose, so the gas can escape, and that's important because of the fermentation does produce a lot of gas, and this needs to go out because otherwise it would just explode. So what I like to use is a WEC bottle, and I'm not sponsored, so no worries, but it's a WEC bottle because the glass lids are just, you can just put them on and it's not metal what starts rusting. So I will just use this glass bottle with this glass lid that I can just put on top. And for our kefir we need about 100 grams of water kefir grains, just like these, for 1 liter of water kefir. So 100 grams on 1 liter. And I can show you also my water kefir grains because they will multiply very fast. And here I have already a jar full of them. So they multiply very fast. And yeah, so you will need 100 grams of water kefir grains per 1 liter of kefir. And to make our water kefir, per 1 liter I use 40 grams of sugar. And it's important to use raw cane sugar with a lot of molasses because the water kefir grains need those minerals from the molasses to grow. And yes, so the darker and the rawer the sugar, the better. And for the water kefir, you could also use just plain white sugar, but then put in some dried figs and dates, which also will give some minerals. So it's just what you prefer. I like using this dark sugar, or just use a lighter sugar if I don't have a darker one on hand, and then use a little bit of blackstrap molasses to mix it in very well. So this is what I will need, 40 grams on 1 liter. Add some boiling water to this, so to just dissolve the sugar. And then I just stir this until it's dissolved. And what I'm gonna do now, I will put cold water to this to just cool it down very fast. And then I will fill up my bottle here with cold water about this way. And I filled this one up. And for water kefir, it's just important to go with cold water or very lightly warm, but not hot to the touch, because otherwise you would harm the bacteria and yeast in the water kefir grains, and you don't want that. So you could also just, of course, let this sit and cool down, but I just don't have enough time, so I'm going for the faster method, which is just put cold water to it, because we still need that water. And then I will just put this in here. I'll put some more cold water in to fill the bottle up, just like that. And this will be fine. And the only thing you need to do now is put the lid on top. Make sure your utensils are all very clean when you start, of course. Put the lid on top and set aside on the counter. No direct sunlight, but a little bit of sunlight is pretty good for the kefir. You can see it bubbling. And yes, so that's all you need to do. And then you let sit it on the counter for about 1 to 2 days, depending on the room temperature. But mostly I let sit it for 2 days, so that will be fine. And Don't worry about the sugar because the kefir will use lots of the sugar during fermenting, and so yeah, there is not as much sugar in the end product if the kefir is done. So just let it sit on the counter for about 2 days, forget about it, and then we come back and I show you what we're gonna do. So when your water kefir is done fermenting, you will see that it has multiplied a lot. So the water kefir grains are a lot more now. Now we are just going to put this into our bottle. Put the lid away. And for that I will just use this funnel and the strainer. And it's important to not use metal with the water kefir grains because they can't have that very well. And then we're just going to put it in here. Tilt your funnel a bit up so the air can get to the sides. Then I will set this aside in the fridge, because this is now our finished water kefir. And I will already prepare a new bottle.